Hello.
All
Nice to
right.
meet everybody. Welcome to Release Holiday Burnout. I'm Amanda Dodd, and I'm here with Liv Kennedy,
So,
and are representing Centerpeace Yoga and Wellness today, talking about burnout.
Amanda, did you want to share a little bit about our specialties and our background? I can go
Sure.
or-
Sure. Well, I'm not able to share yours so much. I am a life coach and a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I got into this work mainly to work on myself. Essentially, someone that inspired me was the Spartan life coach. And so I thought I wanted to go into life coaching and see how that would go. And he did a little bit of hypnosis in his work, and that's kind of what got me started. And then when I delved into the program a little bit deeper and did the actual hypnotherapy and was seeing like breakthroughs, not just for clients, but I would work on someone and then I would have had benefits as a result of having done the work. And it was like, oh no, I'm going to need to do so much more. So that's kind of what got me started. So now I do transpersonal hypnotherapy as well as clinical hypnotherapy. There are some subtle differences between the two. Transpersonal just means that we explore the whole person, so the whole being as well as their soul. So doing things like past life regression, life between lives regression, and it's just really fascinating to explore. Liv, how about you? How did you get started?
So yeah, I'm Liv. I am a holistic behavior specialist. So I studied behavior modification psychology in my master's program. I came across clinical hypnotherapy to help with anxiety for my personal issues, and it was more effective than the 10 plus years of traditional talk therapy that I had had, and all the different medication trials that I had tried. So I immediately knew I had to start doing that work and sharing that with other people. So yeah, here I am utilizing clinical hypnotherapy in my practice. I also am a certified meditation teacher. So we'll talk about some of the subtle differences between hypnotherapy and meditation later on in this workshop. But yeah, so I'm super excited to share this workshop with everybody today. And yeah.
So did you start in holistic fields with other modalities as well, or did you jump into that realm first?
So I started with mindfulness, in my clinical work in the field of psychology. And that led me to research on hypnotherapy. And then I was like, oh, I have to experience this. So it started with mindfulness and more of the meditation realm. So yeah, and the really cool thing with hypnotherapy is it's similar to guided meditation. However, there's a therapeutic purpose behind it. So whereas a guided meditation, it's really just to help you to be present and relax. Whereas with clinical hypnotherapy, we have a therapeutic goal or an outcome. So that's the cool part about it.
Yeah. See, I kind of started in the realms of Reiki and essential oils as well, doing emotion code and then body code. And I just wanted more. I just wanted something more effective. I wanted to get to the roots of things faster.
Yep, absolutely.
I love that we both landed here. Yes, so just to clarify, today we are talking about releasing burnout. So we're going to be educating a little bit about how to identify burnout, your red flags. I think Dee might be having problems hearing us. So I'm just kind of reiterating that we are doing some hypnotherapy for stress management. And I mean, hypnotherapy, that is the basis of it, but we're doing so much more as well. Yeah.
And Dee, if you are continuing to have tech issues and you're not able to stay, that's okay. We're going to send the notes over after, so you have that. And what else were we sending, Amanda?
Possibly the recording. We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. So we're just going to start with a nice grounding meditation. So we'll start in a seated position. So get comfortable. And this could be cross-legged or your feet could be on the floor. Just try to have your hands apart, something like this, maybe upward, and rest on your lap or your knees. And we'll start with 3 cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now I want you to bring your attention to your breath, maintaining the soft, steady pace. Maybe noticing the subtle differences in the belly as it lifts and falls. And softening all the muscles in the face. Bring your attention to the jaw. Intentionally softening the muscles in the jaw. Maybe your mouth opens a little. And just honoring yourself for making time to be here today. Knowing that you have nowhere else to be, nothing else to do, but to be here now. And bring your awareness to the sit bones. Noticing the point where the surface beneath you meets the sit bones. Feeling secure and held. Continuing to breathe. Now, I want you to imagine that there are roots sprouting from your root chakra and around the sit bones. And these roots are sprouting into the earth. Entering deep into Earth's core. And picture these roots just wrapping around the core within the earth. And notice how stable and secure this feels. Take a moment to enjoy this feeling. And when you're ready, you can gently open the eyes. Ooh.
Fantastic. Feels really good to just get present and be grounded and centered in our bodies again.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right. So let's see. Oh, perfect. There we go. Can you see my screen? Okay. Awesome. Okay, so the topic is recognizing and understanding burnout, and how to release it. So Amanda and I came up with our definition, but we also got a definition from the National Institute of Health. So burnout occurs after exposure to repeated or chronic stress. And this can be in the workplace, this could be in social relationships, this could be around the holidays, right? So this is what we're focusing on today. And it's not just being exposed to these chronic stressors, but when we experience difficulty of accessing some of these coping strategies that would help us bounce back. So burnout can also occur when we overdo things, if we don't have really good boundaries, struggling to say no to things that don't serve us, or when we have to feel that we have to give in to the have-tos when it doesn't align with our spirit. So some signs and symptoms are exhaustion or extreme fatigue, maybe isolation or alienation, so not engaging socially with family or peers, a reduction in productivity, that could be with work performance or household chores or activities, and mood and emotional problems. So maybe you're irritable or you're struggling to fall asleep or having sleep problems in general. So the importance of this is in understanding how to prevent burnout and recognizing some of those signs and symptoms would be to prevent burnout from occurring in the future, managing burnout when we notice that it has occurred and dealing with it, and just overall improvement with mental wellness and quality of life.
Yeah, I think a few other things that kind of come up for a lot of people too are anxiety. It's very common. So I know for myself, one of the right ways that I recognize burnout is I used to sign up to do things. And then before it would come, I would start to feel anxious. I would have like a wave of dread. And then there would be this regret and kind of remorse. And I know for some people, it'll actually go as far as canceling plans. So if you're ever experiencing that like last minute existential crisis of why did I sign up for this, that is probably a really good sign that you maybe weren't listening to your body in that moment or your spirit. If it goes really far, then it can actually be absolute lethargy, not able to get out of bed in the morning. I know several people who've had burnout like that as well. It could be really just challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was good to tie in that physiological
Oh
component,
yeah.
but also that whole mind, body, and spirit connection. Absolutely. So, oops. You can tell I'm not the best with technology, sorry. All right. So some interventions we'll discuss and some tools of how to manage and treat burnout when you recognize that you have it are some mind, body, spirit interventions. Okay, so these are holistic and comprehensive interventions, and they provide effective, complete treatment instead of just if you're doing some stress techniques where you're just working with the mind, right? So these interventions promote self-care behaviors as well as the psychophysiological, that mind-body connection, self-regulation. So some of those methods include yoga and breathwork, which you'll see some of the breathwork techniques today will demonstrate that. Energy psychology, such as tapping, Tai Chi, and Qigong. Guided imagery, which is similar to that meditation that we did at the beginning, our grounding meditation, where we did some visualization. Progressive muscle relaxation, where you are bringing specific attention to certain muscles and body parts, tensing them and loosening them. Hypnotherapy, meditation, chanting, and Reiki. So these integrated approaches promote body and self-awareness, so body awareness and self-awareness, increased control over our emotions, and they also release these relaxing natural neurochemicals that we produce in our brain, such as cannabinoids and these natural opioids. So we wanted to talk about choosing these alternative and holistic modalities that we offer at Centerpeace and that Amanda and I do. So the stigma still exists, surrounding mental health treatments or traditional approaches to working with emotional and behavioral health problems. So these mind, body, spirit interventions can be especially useful because they're cost efficient, they're accessible, they are person centered. And again, they engage that holistic, approach, that mind, body, spirit, not just working with that conscious thinking mind. So very, very comprehensive approaches to managing these emotional or mentalistic issues such as burnout. So yes, you can do these approaches on your own, but we encourage that the first time you try any of these modalities out, to try to work with a certified practitioner like Amanda or myself, or again, our other staff at Centerpeace. So when you're first experiencing these interventions, it helps to get feedback and guidance and education. So any questions that come up, or just anything, if you need any type of additional support, you have your practitioner there with you, which is really cool. So it's nice to receive that one-on-one training, that social and emotional support, and the step-by-step guide for executing these interventions on your own in the future. So you don't always have to go to one of these practitioners every single time you need one of these tools, right? We're helping to teach you how to build these new skills so you can access them again on your own in the future. We did include some free apps and tools that you can use in the meantime on your phone, or computer. Calm, Insight Timer, Headspace, the Tapping Solution, and our personal favorite, of course, is journaling. And then Amanda, did you want to take over on the clinical hypnotherapy part?
Sure. So the reason I like hypnotherapy and that we take the hypnotherapeutic approach is because it's something that we already do naturally on a regular basis. Your body goes in and out of different brain states each and every moment. So in the moment that we were doing the grounding exercise, you began to relax a little into your body. The whole experience became just more internal. It became more quiet and calm. There wasn't a need to be scanning the external environment for threats. It was just a time to become centered and relaxed. So what's amazing about hypnotherapy is we are taking the natural state, which is hypnosis, and we are using it very intentionally. So when you're getting to those deeper brain states of being, your natural defenses, for lack of a better word, kind of melt away and they become less hindered. And we're then able to have a deeper conversation with all parts of the person. So at that point, it's not just connecting mind to mind or heart to heart. We get to access the whole person, and the whole person can actually be guided to find their internal solutions, to understand their challenges and what may be connected. So we actually get to the root of an issue so much more faster and more successfully because it's the part of the person that is recording each and every element of us. So that is the unconscious mind, the unconscious part, which does things like regulate our blood pressure, our breathing, all of our internal systems and flows. And so this part of you knows absolutely everything that is happening, why certain programs and behaviors come up, why you have reactions that you maybe are, even if your conscious mind doesn't understand, oh, why did I just respond that way? The unconscious mind absolutely knows why and can actually help you deliberate everything that's tied to it. So that's the part of the client we access when we go into hypnotherapy. And so Liv's got it beautifully explained here, but we go to the theta brainwaves, which is a lower frequency. And we get to bypass the analytical mind, so the conscious mind, which is usually when we're in an alpha or a beta state. That's usually where we're at. We want to skip to the next slide. So gamma is where we are, and that is insight, focus, expanded consciousness. When we're in beta, you're in just standard alertness, you're concentrating, you've got cognition, you're having thoughts. Just be very, you're just very aware at that moment. You know, you're probably involved in doing a task. Alpha is kind of, I think, our regular baseline. That's where many people are during the day. Maybe not now post-pandemic. I think that's changed for a lot of people. More people are in that state of anxiety on a more regular basis, so they're more likely to be in gamma. And if you are like having anxiety, then you are higher up in hertz. And that's kind of why you want to drop in. So we want to guide the body back down, back to a lower degree, because then there are less thoughts, there's less internal chatter going on. It's a lot more peaceful.
I
So if
wanted just because this image I just noticed it said meditation is more in theta, but light meditation would be more in alpha, and then beta is just where we are now generally, and then theta is just that deeper level that we get into in hypnotherapy or hypnosis that we don't traditionally get into during meditation.
Yeah, so I think for a lot of people, when they're thinking of delta, it's that period right before you fall asleep where some of us have like that heightened intuition. I tend to think my best thoughts right then because it's like we're just connected to source in that moment. And so it all just kind of comes through.
Yes, and delta is where we enter when we are in sleep. So where REM occurs, that rapid eye movement, and that deep sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a little something that I found that I greatly enjoyed. And so it talks about psychotherapy. It was a study done by Alfred A. Barrios, PhD. It was published in the American Health Magazine, volume number 7. And what they had done was compared psychoanalysis to behavioral therapy and to hypnosis. And as you can see, psychoanalysis, they were looking at a recovery after 600 sessions. This can be one of the higher priced kind of approaches to take. And then we're looking at only a 38% success rate, which is just mind blowing to me. And so when you think about psychoanalysis, I'm not a therapist, so I don't have that background, but you're not accessing the whole person. You're not accessing all of them. You're getting the conscious mind mostly. Liv, do you want to impart something on that?
I'm just agreeing 100% because yes, like we were discussing with traditional psychotherapy, psychoanalysis, and talk therapy is you're only working with the conscious mind, whereas what is it, 98% of our thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, all of that is operating on the subconscious mind. So when we're doing clinical hypnotherapy, we're working with the subconscious mind.
Yeah, so the part of you that runs all of your systems, your functions, recalls all of your memories in vast detail, and just keeps you breathing, essentially. Yeah.
95% correction. Sorry. But that's still significant.
That is pretty significant. It's wild that we only use that top tier on a regular basis, consciously at least. Yeah. And so looking at behavior therapy, that one we see an improvement. It's 72% success rate after 22 sessions, but still 22 sessions, that's quite a bit. And then we look at hypnotherapy, which of course we're championing because we've seen amazing success for ourselves, for our clients, and we're looking at 93% there. Here it says after 6 sessions. I don't know about you, but I tend to have a much higher success rate with clients. I've had some clients even do like smoking cessation and they've got it nipped within 1 to 2 sessions. It's not even a 6-session deal every single time, depending on what your goals are. I would say 6 at the very most, and that has to be a very challenging situation to work with.
And I would note that those 6 sessions could be other issues that were causing the whatever issue they came in for. So such as smoking, some people have multiple underlying issues for the smoking behavior. So they might have had to address all of those different things, and it may have taken those 6 sessions. Whereas someone who's just smoking out of boredom, that could be 1 session. Whereas someone who's smoking to deal with anxiety or out of boredom and just to be having, something to do with their hands, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I've actually done really advanced sessions and still only 1 to 2 sessions. So know that the 6 is definitely not the average. It was just the average in that study that they did. I think there have been some pretty significant advances in hypnotherapy since this was, looked at. It would be great to see new studies, that's for sure. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the uses of hypnosis. I know a lot of people are quick to associate hypnotherapy with smoking cessation, maybe with alleviating fears and phobias, weight loss, or the more Hollywood stage hypnosis for entertainment. More people are learning that it can be used for more stress management. So kind of like we were talking about with the iceberg of consciousness, we were looking at the top portion. It's kind of the same with the whole modality. If you look at the lower portion, there are so many more applicable uses for hypnotherapy, and this is by no means an extensive list. It really just is endless in terms of the things we can explore. Do you have any personal favorites on there, Liv?
Fears and phobias, of course, and stress management. So just really retraining the brain to get back into that regulated state and homeostasis, and then continued exposure to that state, building new neural pathways, so that becomes your new norm again. So definitely anxiety, fears, phobias, stress management. Absolutely.
I'm a little more partial to life regression, and that's because I do the transpersonal part of the hypnotherapy where we're looking at the soul. So that'll be something to explore another day, but it is a fascinating realm to look at of past life regression and life between lives, where essentially you look at the whole person and you do kind of like a timeline of beyond this life. So lives prior to, some people go into future lives, and it is just absolutely fascinating. And at first, as a hypnotherapist, I really wasn't interested in those realms. And then, of course, like all things with hypnotherapy, I'm learning. The more I did, the more I would see that the clients would all of a sudden have all kinds of things rectified that they couldn't explain before, that we couldn't find solutions to. And so it's just like a marvel to witness. It's amazing. And then PTSD. I love working with PTSD clients. I love easing all of the emotional flashbacks, taking out all of just the associated connections the brain has made. And like Liv said, making new neural pathways, making a new normal. They get to completely detangle like a huge ball of wires and reroute things and make new choices. And then limiting beliefs. I love having a client come in with a limiting belief and we begin to follow that string and unravel that. It's just amazing how much a person can change in the span of a single session and the benefits that follow.
I wanted to touch on the PTSD again. So I don't know why that slipped my mind, but so I do trauma recovery. And in that I utilize hypnotherapy. There is an increase in research in utilizing hypnotherapy for treating PTSD symptoms, especially with people who are experiencing flashbacks, or having triggers to negative uncomfortable stimuli. So we can use hypnotherapy to reassociate and create new associations for that negative stimuli. So an example is from which I'm sure everyone has heard of, the leading trauma expert, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. And he compiled research on they used clinical hypnotherapy to create new associations for veterans who have PTSD, who were aversive to loud bangs because it reminded them of that shell shock and took them back to that time when they were in battle. And they ended up reassociating those bangs with fireworks. So enjoying fireworks with your family on the 4th of July, and there was a great success rate. So yeah, that was pretty awesome.
I think when a lot of people think of PTSD, they think of the flashbacks. They think a lot of the like major acute symptoms, but PTSD is also not being able to break through serious patterns and live your life in the way that you want to live it. And so the thing that I love about hypnosis is we can treat all the way through. So not just the acute stuff. We can desensitize to various memories, change a person's responses, but then also moving forward, help break them out of patterns that they probably don't understand why they're having those responses, and just have the choice and the free will to move forward. So I find that particularly exciting as well. Yeah. Okay, so why don't we have an internal experience for a moment, and just going to talk about intention, because hypnotherapy is essentially using hypnosis with intention. That is the difference. We're using those natural states in the body and in the mind and in the spirit to then create something new or to change something better. I say energy goes where attention flows. I think a lot of people have probably heard that one. And so what I'd like to do is just bring your attention inward, drop into your heart space, and just have a couple natural rounds of breath here. Allow the diaphragm to expand with your inhale. Exhale fully, completely. You let it go with a sigh through the mouth. It's a wonderful way to get plugged back into your body, to just be very present. And today I'm going to teach you a technique called Brumari Pranayama, which is bumblebee or buzzing bee breath. And I love this breath because it has so many benefits. So the primary thing to know about this one is the vagal nerve stimulation, and that it helps with the autonomic nervous system. So the actual humming that we're going to be doing, that I might have a hard time demonstrating today, is actually almost like using a remote. Like just the same way you go to turn on a TV, we're going to activate the nervous system to go to rest and digest. So the humming vibration within the body will reduce your blood pressure, help to regulate some hormones like cortisol, kind of bring some ease to the adrenals. It's amazing for just clearing your energy. So a couple of rounds of this and you're actually going to be able to have the physical experience in your body. So maybe just take note for yourself where you're at now in terms of your mental activity, how you're feeling. Just do a quick body scan. Just kind of drop in from head to toe and just take notes, how you're feeling, what you're aware of. And in a moment, what we're going to do is bring our thumbs just to the external part of the ear. So I'll try to show this on camera best I can. And just the little flap here above. We're not going to press down. We're just going to add a little bit of pressure. And so you're going to do this on both sides, almost like, you're a little kid, you're about to make a funny face. You just add a tiny bit of pressure, not pressing too hard and never causing any discomfort. And then you bring the hands over the eyes. They can rest either completely on the eyes. You might have them bridge on the nose. And so essentially what we're doing is creating a little bit of sensory deprivation. For one, it's very comforting to have this touch on the face. It's almost like a bit of a havening technique where we're adding that pressure. So the contact creates a little bit of oxytocin in the body. But then also the sensory deprivation pulls us from outside in. And so we're going to take a deep breath in through the nose. And on the exhale, just begin to hum. So you might make a kind of sound. And the whole point is that you essentially sound like a bumblebee. And allow the hum to go for the whole exhale if possible. So let's do this now and take a couple of rounds. Again, light pressure just to top the ears. Create your little bumblebee mask. Take a nice big inhale through the nose. Aligning the spine, sitting up tall, creating a nice big airway. And on the exhale, hum. If you can do this without laughing, kudos to you. It's a wonderful way to just clear the heart space, not take yourself too seriously. And go ahead and practice a couple more rounds. Allow the shoulders to drop. Release any tension in the elbows. On a nice big inhale, filling up the diaphragm, the lungs. Exhale, allow yourself to hum. That could be an sound or N like Nancy. And just let your body literally hum it out. And so the vibration is actually making movement within your body, clearing and adjusting throughout the way. We'll allow that to come to a close in just a moment. When you've taken your last round, go ahead and drop the hands. Just come to present and notice what you feel within your body. And so how was that for you? What did you experience, Liv?
I'm ready for sleep. I love the sensory touch and pressure that always relaxes me and reminds me of tapping. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so for me, it's like a full energy clear. I feel just completely kind of dropped in and aligned. So if you practice this for somewhere between, maybe 5-10 minutes to start with, it's just an excellent way to kind of release nerves, anxiety, and agitation, and just drop into your body, come back and have an internal experience, and then take a breath and go do what you got to do with your day. It's also great for mental clarity. So if you know you need to focus and you're distracted, it's a great way to kind of just drop in. I have a little notice there that says avoid during pregnancy, and that's because it will reduce your blood pressure. So if you're already having blood pressure problems, that's just something to be aware of and to note. So I guess we don't have any questions today. Common questions, I guess, might be something to explore. I think something that's worth noting, though, is that when you're working with hypnotherapy and hypnosis as a natural solution to reducing burnout, is that it's very gentle. It's so gentle that it could be used for seniors, it can be used for children. It is very flexible in terms of what you can do. And I think that's really something that is nice to mention.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about hypnotherapy, how it works, why it works. We talked about some of the other approaches. I'd like to drop in and talk a little bit about my perspective of burnout, which is a little different. So for me, my perspective of burnout is it was my body's way of tending and befriending myself. That's kind of a weird thing to say, isn't it? That's not what most people think of when they think burnout. Oh, my body's trying to be my friend. Amanda, you're crazy. That's how that conversation goes. But it is. So for me, it was actually my body trying to educate me on, hey, kiddo, you've overdone it. You're overgiving, you're overdoing, you're overthinking. Listen to me, because essentially what was happening was I was doing what I like to call time traveling, and I was not in my body.
Mm.
So if you're not in your body, you're missing the subtle cues. When you're having those conversations, you're missing the flip in your stomach, you're missing the increase in the pulse, you're not hearing yourself and your body saying, no, I don't want to do this no more. And you're piling on top of an already full plate, or at least I was, and that was my experience. So One of the first ways to counter that for me is coming into the body. And that's why we practice bumblebee breath, because the first thing it does is drops you into your body. So as a new strategy, as opposed to one that doesn't feel so great and isn't necessarily working, a new strategy would be, okay, so be embodied, be fully present when you're having conversations. Before you offer help or sign up for something or take on an extra chore, listen to your body, actually check in and notice the responses.
Mhm.
Have you had any experiences like that?
Well, I just wanted to touch on because that's extremely important, right? And being
Yeah.
present in here now, and especially with trauma, we lack that body awareness and being within our body. So how would you suggest that people start to develop this as a skill? Like where could they start?
A wonderful place. I mean, hypnotherapy, definitely, but if it was just me on my own and if I had to start over again, initially where I did begin was Reiki and emotion code. Those were the first foundational tools that started to help me to realize, oh, I'm not paying attention to myself. I'm not plugged into what I'm feeling in this moment. And if you're not, because that's what feelings are, essentially, they're like the little radio signal of, hey, here's where you're at with this. And if you're tuned out, you're missing the signal. And
Yeah.
so by the time we get to burnout, we've already missed a lot of signals. You know, if you're having that come often or every year, then it's like, okay, so I really need to just be more present. So working with breath work, that's definitely one way. I personally love to journal as well, working with journal prompts, just a simple check-in. The way that I asked, I guided you guys to check in right before the breath activity, and the way that I guided you to do it again after the breath activity, that can be something that you do on your own. You could do something like going for a mindful walk. Take a moment to check in. How am I feeling today? Where are my thoughts? Where is my heart? What am I feeling? What do I need today? Something I used to guide clients to is, before your feet hit the floor in the morning, stop before you get out of bed in the morning. What do I need today to be fit for human consumption?
I think that is the most important part. Like
Yeah.
really tuning in and checking in with your mind and body before starting your day and getting wrapped up in that, predictability and repetition, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's why we see certain types of people get burnout. We see people who are parents, who are special needs caregivers, who are caregiving to a senior or a family or a loved one. Or we see teachers, nurses, all of these people who are in the social and caring professions, who are so used to putting themselves last to be able to do more for others. So it's a very specific kind of person who has challenge with burnout. And it's usually those of us with a bigger heart.
Yeah. So really just strengthening those mind body skills, and first thing in the morning before you pick up your phone, before you brush your teeth, put your feet on the ground, maybe or do some breathing, check in, some type of exercise to where you can be present, drop in before you get wrapped up in, all of that subconscious programming and repetition.
Yeah, because I think the moment you let your feet hit the floor and you engage in all of the habits, because that's what we are. We are creatures of habit. The minute you pick up the phone, you're already gone. Your attention is already 50 other places, and then the to-do list is on and ticking. So at that point, it is game over.
Absolutely.
So the next step then, I would say, is use the information to make a choice. If you've done your self check-in, you know that you are not fit for human consumption that day. then it's time to set some boundaries. Then it's time to make some choices, or maybe it's time to ask for some support. You need a little bit of help around the house. How many of us have a hard time going to our spouse or to our families to say, hey, these things need done in the house. I'm not feeling up to this today. I could really use some support. Who would like to do what? That's not an easy conversation to have, especially as moms. We feel like we need to take it all on. We need to do it all. If it doesn't get done, we get a little resentful, and then we're tired and angry. The whole gamut of things, kind of happens. If we don't take care of it, we're feeling guilty, we're feeling bad, and then we've got anxiety. It's just a whole thing. And what is it really? Just, hey, this is where I'm at. This is my reality. I don't like it. It is what it is. So go ahead.
And it's normal. This is a normal experience, but it's how are we managing it and approaching it?
We've normalized it as a society. Isn't that sad that we've kind of created that experience for families and for women and for mothers? I say women, but it could be happening in same-sex couples as well.
Yeah. And I mean, but that level of burnout, yeah, it happens and it is normal. But again, how can we, work through that? How can we prevent it from happening in the future? And, yeah.
So after doing the self-check-in, what I like to do is then come to make some decisions. And I always start with kind of radical acceptance, just acknowledging what is. And when I say acceptance, a lot of people find that a really hard pill to swallow, and it doesn't mean you have to like it.
Mm-hmm.
But you do just need to own and say, okay, this is where I'm at today. Today, my bandwidth is this big. My chores are this big. How do I manage the discrepancy, and then applying new strategies? So a new strategy we might apply after we've come to that place of, okay, reconciliation, this is where I'm at. Then it's asking for help. It's setting some firm boundaries, being able to say no or to negotiate some things. Yeah. And that kind of comes with a lot of challenge too, especially for women and for caregivers and people who are very just gentle and loving. We don't like to tell other people no. We don't like to not be able to show up for them. It doesn't always feel so good. But sometimes that's the difference. So if you can say no to one thing on one day, have that time to rest and bounce back, you might be able to say yes to 5 things later down the road when you'd otherwise be burnt out. So it's having that kind of perspective. So those are some of the things that I suggest, is just kind of plugging in, checking in, see where you're at, practice a little bit of radical acceptance with it, then practicing boundaries and saying no. Mm-hmm. I don't know when the word no became such a taboo thing. But acknowledging that the word no, I can't at the moment, or I don't have the bandwidth, is completely acceptable. And no on its own is a full sentence. It is a full statement, and it's not, it doesn't deduce anything about who you are as a person or your aptitudes. It's not like that at all. Mm-hmm. So having a little bit of compassion afterwards, I find that's the biggest thing, is we're so quick to give self-compassion to everyone else, but not to apply it inwards when, hey, you know what? I need a rest. I need a break. It's not something that we have to earn. It is something that we need just to function and keep going. Anything you'd like to impart on that?
No, I think you said it beautifully.
Yeah. Any questions? Okay. So in a moment, why don't we have a nice little just reprieve with progressive muscle relaxation? And I'll do a little bit of hypnotherapy. I think we'll probably go for about 20 minutes. That sound reasonable to you? Yeah, I'm not going to do a full thing today. I do not have the bandwidth. There we go. I just modeled it for you.
Wow. Good job.
Okay, so progressive muscle relaxation, which Liv introduced us to earlier, can be tensing and relaxing each muscle, or it can also be just mindfulness. I'm going to take the mindfulness approach today. I'm not going to be doing the tensing and releasing. If you want to have that experience, you are welcome to go rogue and practice it in your own body. That could be a boundary that you set right now, is that you choose to practice it that way. For today, for the sake of my voice and my limits, I'm just going to guide you through the body. And this is a really wonderful modality that anyone can practice. You don't need to be a hypnotherapist for this. I actually learned this when I was about 11 years old. I was fortunate when I was diagnosed with ADD that instead of having a doctor who gave me medication, when I told him I had insomnia, he sent me home with a hypnotherapy recording. And it was exactly this. And so essentially what I did was I listened to the recording. Within 5 days, I had it memorized. I would just take myself through at night. Now, when I go to bed, my spouse is incredibly jealous because I go to bed and I am out in under a minute. Like within 20 seconds, I'm usually departing. So you can actually do this as well if you've got any kind of symptoms that come up for you, any discomfort. This is a nice way to kind of work through it right before sleep. So go ahead and make yourself comfortable. If you'd like to extend your legs, that's a wonderful thing to do for your body right now. Try to find a nice comfortable spot on your chair in a way that you're going to be supporting the back. Take a nice deep breath in. Just feel the breath in your belly. And just take a moment to scan your body from head to toe. Just do like a little bit of a counting. See what's there, see what's present. Notice any tension, any discomfort. Or perhaps you've got places in your body that feel wonderful. Perhaps you've got places in your body that feel warm and comfortable, relaxed. And it's amazing how we can focus in either direction. You can focus on what's tense, or you can focus on what's at ease. And so bring your attention now to the very top of your head, to the crown of your head. And just notice what's there. Something you can practice that is called God sourcing, I believe, is you can imagine a hole in the top of the head reaching up to the heavens, or divine healing and light can actually enter your system. And so imagine that for a moment. And now we're going to begin to use the breath. So focusing at that point at the top of the head, imagine breathing in from that place in your body. Breathing in light and healing. Breathing in any resources that you might need in the moment. And as you exhale, imagine the tension, any stress, any agitation or undulation happening in your body beginning to dissolve, beginning to melt, beginning to just release. Inhale, bringing in fresh energy. Exhaling, releasing, letting go. And so imagine this ease beginning to spread, coming down through the forehead, like a liquid wave of relaxation, softening all of the lines on the face, the eyes becoming heavy and still, everything relaxing. Each and every inhale brings in more ease, more gentleness, more peace. Every exhale dissolves more tension. Any and all stress and discomfort melt away. Feeling your ears begin to relax, the shoulders dropping to a natural position, allowing the body to just become still and easy, gentle and peaceful. You may notice that the jaw begins to soften. Even the mouth loses its curve. We just release any and all tension in the jaw, allowing the neck to soften, the torso to become so still and peaceful. Inhaling more ease, more restfulness, more relaxation. And for some people, this might feel like a tingling, might feel heavy, might just feel still. Imagine those sensations beginning to spread from the top of the neck all the way down the spine, from the top of the shoulder, on each side, down through the fingertips. Ease and relaxation spreading with each and every breath. You might notice this as a certain color. You might have a specific sensation. Notice the sensation of ease and relaxation spreading all the way through chest and torso, down past the lungs, into the stomach. Just ease and relaxation, letting go, allowing the muscles to relax, just relax and to rest. Liquid relaxation flooding into the hips, into the sit bones, down through the thighs, past the knees. Imagining that even your calves now begin to just become heavy, still, and at ease, fully and completely relaxing. And soon this sensation goes from head all the way down to your toes, like a giant wave of relaxation, from top to bottom, from bottom to top, just at rest, at ease, gentle and relaxed. Good. You might become so relaxed that it becomes more difficult to listen to my voice. Just allow it to drift in and out. And any sounds that you hear inside or outside, outside or in, inside out, or outside in, only help you to relax even more deeply now. Good. Allow yourself to breathe comfortably, easily, and deeply, allowing the relaxation in the body to double, to triple, maybe 10 times, 20 times, 50 times more relaxed. And just allow your mind to drift and to delve into the ease and relaxation you feel in your body. And for just this moment, I'm going to speak to your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind that runs all of our systems, our blood, our breath, our nervous system, helps us to function and thrive each day without so much as a thought. How wonderful to have such a design. And there have been parts of us over time that have managed our energy. And it's been a strategy for some to have burnout, to become tired and lethargic. And that was a strategy that protected us for a very long time. And now it's just not helpful. Now we have options and choices. We can begin to change our strategies. And so working with the subconscious mind to implement a new strategy, releasing any and all burnout, exhaustion, tiredness, just as easily as an exhale, we release and let go. And as we inhale, we take in assertiveness. We take in some boundaries. And we find more ability to be aware of our needs, of our bodies, of our habits. Just like walking through a park and feeling your feet on the ground, perhaps in the grass. With every step, releasing and letting go of old habits and strategies, releasing the need for burnout, letting go of resentments, letting go of exhaustion, and releasing anxiety. There are simply better ways now to help us get to where we want to go. And as you feel your toes stepping in the grass, from toe to heel, imagine that you are breathing in through the ground and taking up new abilities. It's almost as though you're breathing in from the bottoms of your feet, taking in the ability to be more assertive, more honest, to be able to have a challenging conversation more comfortably, more easily. Because when you're more assertive and honest, it's so much easier to manage your energy, to feel good, and to receive help, to balance your home life, your work life, all of the parts and areas of your life become more integrated, more peaceful, more at ease. And so you might imagine yourself still walking through the grass. Perhaps this time we begin to go at a bit of a run, leaving behind the burnout, leaving behind the resentment, the density, the heaviness. Running from old strategies and running into a bright and happy future where you know that you are worth telling your truths, where you know it is safe to say no, to set a boundary, to make a different choice, and to negotiate and compromise on things in ways that support your longevity, your health, and your wellness. Running through the grass, leaving behind density. You might even take a moment to turn and look behind you and see the footsteps, all of the density left behind, all of the old patterns of burnout left in the dust. And what it feels like now to be in a fresh, new place where you're free to speak your truth, to be assertive and confident, make choices based on how you feel and what you need. To know that you've got the freedom to make new choices, and to take new steps in ways that support you to grow and feel well, to have good energy, to receive support, and to have your loved ones reciprocate when you make a request for help, for needs. Imagine it becoming easier and more comfortable. In fact, it may even begin to feel like a gift when you bring someone a need and give them the opportunity to show up and to support you. It is a gift to grow your relationships even more deeply because you're being authentic and honest. And when you're authentic and honest and assertive, you allow your loved ones to come to you in the very same way. And so your life begins to improve, to feel better, more joyful, more blissful. And everything is just so much more at ease. And anything else you wish to leave behind now in the tracks, in the dust, simply imagine letting go, releasing. With the next big inhale, breathing in more resources, the ability to be fearlessly authentic in a way that is honest, helpful, and tactful, to meet your needs in ways that are supporting and fair, helpful. Good. Allow these feelings to flow throughout your body, knowing that you are worthy, being compensated well, being supported when you make requests, and able to be truthful in your relationships with yourself, and to meet your needs comfortably, easily, gently. Begin coming back to the body. And as we start having awareness of our fingers and toes, you're going to feel more refreshed, more awake, more vibrant, more ready to meet your day, to set boundaries and to speak your truth with ease. You may give out a little bit of a stretch in the arms, feel your body coming to life, and know that you've got all of the resources within you to have good days, to speak your truths, to set good boundaries, and to have wonderful energy. So hopefully you begin to just practice some of these things for yourself and find more vibrancy to your life, find more comfort. The more that we're truthful and honest about what we feel, what we need, what we want, the more we allow others to come to us with that same way. So our relationships get to be so much more intimate and delicious and honest. Welcome back.
I don't
You
know.
have
tell, but I'm super suggestible and I go into hypnosis easily. So
I do too. Yeah.
I had a whole bunch of ideas we'll talk about when we're off record.
Fantastic. So because this is a recording, hopefully you get to practice that a couple of times over, and just notice the amazing thing about hypnosis is that it is cumulative. The more that you do it, it kind of stacks and adds up. And things just begin to become easier. It gets so much faster and smoother, and suddenly you'll be like, wow, I was just assertive right then, and it happened like that. I didn't even have to think about it. It was so easy and it felt so good. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Liv, for joining me today and for presenting. I've very much enjoyed our time. And thank you for everyone who stopped by to listen. Wishing you a restful, peaceful rest of the way through the holiday season and the winter season. Remember that you can take time to rest. That is, there are still animals hibernating out there right now. You can take a break too. All right. Thank you.